Hi, Ayushman. I'm very, very happy and honored that you are here at our Voice Tech Up call. You are the CTO of NeuralSpace, and NeuralSpace is a great NLP platform which covers over 90 languages and is even capable to change the language within one sentence. And this is something like really technically difficult to do in my experience. And today we will hear how you bring this state-of-the-art AI into life, and that is what you like to do. Could you maybe give us a short introduction about yourself?
Sure. Again, thanks a lot, Nina, for inviting me here, and I'm glad to speak to you and also talk about the topics that we are going to cover today. So I'm Ayushman. I am born and brought up in a small town in India, on the eastern coast of India. But I've always been interested in natural language processing as a subject. I did study that in college, and then worked in India in a small company, a very small company, where we were building language technology for various Indian languages. So you must know that in India, whenever you cross a state, the language changes. Not only the script, the way they speak, there are various dialects. So there's a huge language problem in India, especially in terms of technology. And we were trying to solve that problem by building translation tools, typing tools, fonts, and whatever you can imagine related to languages. And this is almost a decade ago, right? So a long, long time back, when deep learning and machine learning was also not a very big thing. So started over there, learned a lot about languages, learned a lot about language tech. Then I moved to Germany, learned there. I studied, did my master's, learned again about language processing. I did my major in linguistics and language processing and artificial intelligence. Helped a company. So this is the time when chatbots were becoming a thing. So I worked in a company and built a chatbot framework from scratch. And then from there, I moved to Canada, Montreal, worked as a research scientist over there for 2 years, and then got the guts to start my own company with Felix, my co-founder. And here I am. So in my entire professional career, I've worked in language processing, various languages, different domains from semantic search to conversational AI, and to now building an NLP platform that does a lot of these NLP stuff automatically.
That sounds very challenging and interesting at the same time. What about your platform? So how can I imagine, for who is this platform? Is it like for me, for conversational designers or product owners, or is it something more technically?
Right. So to be honest, our platform is still very new. So we are figuring out who is the ideal user of the platform. We develop the platform keeping developers in mind. That developers are going to use it. Developers who maybe don't have a lot of NLP knowledge are going to use it. But slowly we are seeing that maybe some other people are also getting interested. For example, there are companies in which they need private NLP library or private NLP systems that work offline, or that work without internet, or that works on private data. So this has been a huge focus recently, and this is a recent development in our use case. So a lot of high level or execs are also getting very interested. Like, for example, chief integration officers are getting interested. And so there's a bit of shift, but we still develop the platform keeping developers in mind, so that when we integrate all of this, right, at the end, developers are going to use the APIs. So we still develop the platform keeping developers in mind, and we are slowly exploring who is the ideal end user of the customer, of the platform. Sorry.
And I've seen you cover a lot of services, like really machine translation and NLP topics in very specific fields. Could you maybe like explain in 3 words or easily what the platform, which services it covers?
Right. So the platform covers a lot of services, but I'll tell you the philosophy behind adding all these services on one platform. The reason is that NLP, you already know, you've worked already in NLP, right? When you say
Yeah.
NLP, it's never always one small thing. It's a combination
Exactly.
of multiple things. It's never always one thing. Sometimes you need translation with classification. Sometimes you need classification with entity extraction. Sometimes you need data augmentation with entity extraction and classification, and so on and so forth. So there are almost never you find one service being used by itself. So that was one of the motivations of having multiple services. And the way we have it is all the services that you see on the platform have one of our proprietary technologies, which is Auto ML or Auto NLP, as we call it. So you can train your own model on your own data without having to do any hyperparameter search or anything. So you can upload the data.
You basically you have a preset of pre-trained data too. So you covered this too, or you have to like train everything, because in my experience it is very time consuming to train a bot or a system, and that would be interesting to know. So do you cover some pre-trained sets from your own training, or how does that look like?
Yeah, so we always do transfer learning. It has been the core of the platform always. Take any of the services we have. I'll just name three, which is language understanding, which is essentially text classification, entity recognition, which is extracting valuable information from text, and the third one is translation, which is translating text from one language to the other, right? So these three, all of them have this technology called Auto NLP, which has pre-trained models in the backend. So every time you train something on your own data, we use transfer learning to create a new model for you. So it's much faster. We train on GPUs as well, so that the training is also very fast. And our models are also very, very small. So we put a lot of effort into optimizing the models. So the end product, the end model that you get is almost never more than 60 megabytes. Almost as small as 60 megabytes, so that we can deploy. So when we deploy it, it's very easy for us to scale these models. You can even deploy 20 replicas of one model without having to burn your pockets.
Okay, I understand.
That's the idea behind it.
So that comes to my second question actually. What is the main unfair advantage? Why should I use NeuralSpace and not services from Microsoft or from Google Cloud?
That's a brilliant question.
Like Dialogflow, for example.
Yeah. So for Dialogflow, the answer is very easy. We are much better than Dialogflow. On average, we are around 7% better than Dialogflow. We have done a full-fledged benchmarking of us versus them. Plus, Dialogflow you will never get in your private cloud. So, for example, if you are installing something for a bank or an insurance company, or maybe you just want something which is related to your private data, you will never be able to deploy Dialogflow. But with NeuralSpace, you will not only get better results, but also be able to deploy it in a private cloud and connect it. We do provide off-the-shelf connectors. So let's say you are using Microsoft's conversational AI or Dialogflow or some other conversational AI. So we provide connectors. So once you train these models, you can use these connecting APIs, which kind of mock the other services, right? So you don't have to write a lot of integration code. So you can jump very easily from one service to the other.
So I could like make an application with your service combined with the service of, let's say, Louis from Microsoft.
Yeah. You could very easily do that. And we are slowly integrating with a lot of dialogue managers. So for example, we don't do dialogue management. We give the NLP model, right? So the dialogue managers are usually, there are plenty. Like Live Person or Rasa, there are many other dialogue managers. So now what we are doing as a scale-up strategy, we are integrating with as many dialogue managers as possible. We've already done it.
Right.
We've already done it with a customer in Sweden. They built a lot of chatbots, and we already have 9 models live with them. We plan to do it with Live Person. We plan to do it with a few other vendors as well in different geographies, so that we are available as a drop-in replacement, And of course, if they want a private installation, we always have that option, right? They can always install our solution privately and then do whatever they want to do with the data.
Yeah, very interesting. So you're based in UK, right?
Yes,
And in some
yes,
other branches around the world. Is this correct?
correct. That's absolutely correct. We our development mostly happens in India. We do have one of our teammates in Tunisia and another teammate in Germany, but all the other development team members are in India and in
Okay.
different parts of India, not in one city.
Yeah. So really remote team. Yeah.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
okay. So you're an NLP engineer, and yeah, can you maybe also tell me a little bit more what is the most exciting feature of your platform? So I just caught the capability that I can switch within a sentence from one language to another. So I can speak in let's say Swiss German. I don't know if you have, but or I speak in English, and I can switch in some Spanish words, which is maybe
Yeah,
the case in Miami. Or in India, you
yeah,
speak in a Indish in a language dialect, and you put some English words in it, like coffee or tomorrow
yeah,
or
yeah,
house.
yeah.
That's really exceptional, and that's just one feature I have in mind. But maybe you have, yeah, you surely know which are the key exceptional
Right.
features.
That's definitely one of our key offerings in terms of language understanding. But
Mm-hmm.
you've already mentioned the benefits
Yeah.
of all of that. But there are a few other very interesting things that we have built lately. Some of them are live, some of them will be live soon. One is that we have developed a voice identification. So, for example, while doing speech to text,
Yeah.
let's say you're transcribing a meeting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and in the meeting, you want to transcribe it as, for example, Nina said this, Ayushman said that, Felix said that, and then this guy said this, and that guy said that, and you want to transcribe it by name. Then by just using 20 to 30 seconds of audio sample from each of them, you can do voice speaker identification.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
that, you can do transcription. You can get the whole transcription done, and
Yeah.
also you can classify speaker segments into different groups using language understanding. So you can combine 2 or 3 services and you get a full package solution, right? So
Mm-hmm.
for example, in this case, let's say you said that let's book a meeting tomorrow. So that segment of our conversation will be tagged as Nina wanted to book a meeting tomorrow with
Mm-hmm.
Ayushman.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Mm-hmm.
see that this is conversational AI on a whole different level, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can transcribe the meetings, you can transcribe calls, you can do all of that using that. So we have this small module called speaker signature detection. So essentially, what we do is another use case of that would be, let's say you are attending to a bank, and the bank, they want to have an extra layer of security, which a lot of other banks actually do already. So if you
Mm-hmm.
if you look at Royal Bank of Canada, in Canada, of course, when you call their agents, on their screen they get a notification saying that using the voice data, they do authentication, and they give a feedback saying that this is an authenticated human. I know this guy is because they already have some samples and they do
Mm-hmm.
authentication. This is mostly useful for identity theft. So let's say you've lost your passport, okay,
Yeah.
or you have lost your credit card, for example. And then when you call the agents, who knows whether you are calling them or someone else is
Yeah. Yeah.
calling them, because your identity is already lost, right?
So
So
this
this
is
is
a
a very
biometrical analysis, or?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So what we do is we take your voice signature, exactly like your fingerprint. What they do is they take multiple samples and then they match the samples with the
Yeah.
samples that you have given. It's something very similar to that. So we take a few seconds, let's say 20, 30 seconds of your voice sample, and we match that and give you like a thumbs up or thumbs down, saying that
Yeah.
this is a match and this is an 80% match, or this is a 20% match, and stuff like that. So this is a very interesting thing that is there on the platform. Apart from the other text related, I am a bit more interested these days in speech technology. So
Yeah.
you will hear me talking a lot about speech technologies these
Yeah,
days.
yeah, yeah, because that's the future, of course. Maybe to
Yeah,
have
yeah,
also a faster login and everything. It's much
yeah, yeah,
faster.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, for taking that last part, I mean, you're not talking about voice and your platform. So which kind of cases do you find in the market, or people come to you, customers come to you? What are the main use cases at the moment?
So since the last 2 years, we have been chasing after conversational AI companies. This is how I would put it, right? That's what startups do when they start. They do a lot of outbound. So we're
Yeah.
chasing after conversational AI companies, and conversational AI companies have been coming to us is because that's how we have branded ourselves. That's what our messaging is. That's what our offering is. But now what we are moving towards is more of a solutions approach. So let's say now from, and it's in progress again, we are working on video translation. So it's a
Yeah.
video in, video out. You upload a YouTube video or you upload your own video, you select the languages you want it in, and we will spit out another video in that language, fully overdubbed, mixed with the background audio. Even if there is background music, we take all of that out, mix it again with the background
So
music
cool.
and everything.
Very cool.
Yeah, so that's what we are working on, especially for the news domain. So we are especially focusing on news videos, because news is something that people want to watch in their own language, and it's a very common thing all over the world. So that's why we are focusing a lot on news. Maybe in the future we'll go to sports, and then we will maybe go to politics, but we've started with some general news videos, and we're trying to see how customers react to it, how the market reacts to it, and based on that we'll focus on that.
Great. Have you also made approaches on concerning the identification of single persons in a group talking to each other? So there are some approaches in the market to identify single person when they speak together in a room. To address maybe even a person after. Let's say I take the typical example, you have Alexa, they also make approaches to identify via camera or sensors the different person talking to each other in a room.
Right. So the voice signature technology that I talked about, right? Using that, you could do exactly that. So but you would need, let's say, 20 to 30 seconds of audio samples from
of
the
every
speakers,
person, right? Yeah.
of every person, and it will be able to detect it. Even in real time, it will be able to detect it. So you keep feeding the audio, and it'll constantly say, okay, now it's Nina, and now it's Ayushman speaking. And of course, there are corner cases when 2 or 3 people are speaking at the same time. It will be very difficult for the model to pick all these things up. But in general, when there is minimal overlap, it can definitely perform well.
Okay, that's really great. That there are a lot of insights for me on NeuralSpace and what the capabilities are. That's really interesting.
Right.
So let's say from an NLP perspective, or do you have any materials on NLP, conversational AI, which you would recommend to read?
So currently we publish a lot of blog posts on various use cases. You could go to neuralspace.ai, and we have a blogs page over there. You can go check out our blog. Otherwise, you can go to our documentation page, which is docs.neuralspace.ai, and you can get a lot of information there. You can also go to our YouTube channel. You can search for NeuralSpace on YouTube. We have a bunch of videos talking about various NLP technology, and we also talk about some very small but very niche NLP technology. For example, text augmentation. So we have a service called augmentation, to which if you pass a text in more than 100 languages, so we support more than 100 languages in it. You pass a piece of text, it'll give you up to 10 semantically similar sentences. And we have done various experiments with it, and we have seen that it can increase your accuracy by up to 10 to 12%. So just take the data set that you have, pass it to augmentation, get a 10x data set size, train your model again, you will get 10% better. And we have tested it on various data sets in different languages, and we have seen the same. And
that's interesting to reduce the training time and to speed it up.
Yeah, exactly. So data to increase the data collection time, essentially.
Yeah.
There is another small service that we have. Again, these are helper services, we call them. And so, for example, in chatbot use cases, when you create training utterances, you usually not only have a label associated to the utterances, but you
Yeah.
also have entities tagged to the utterances,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
And it's a very common practice to just translate the utterances into different languages and train a new model. It's a very common practice.
Very
But
time consuming. I know that. Yeah. I know also platform which do the automation, but I'm now
right.
curious what you do.
Right. So it's very common to do that, right? You translate the text, but when you translate the text, you lose the entities. It's because once you
Yeah.
translate, the word order changes, the entities are
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
So we've come up with an API. What you can do is you can tag your entities and then call our translate API. And what we do is we translate the text, but we also tell you the entities in the translated text, like where these entities are. So even if the words are changing order, even if the sentence has a different order altogether,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Also tell. And we do that with an 80 to 90% accuracy.
So
Of course, you will lose a few words here and there, but up to 80 to 90% accuracy, you will get the entities back.
And they are also like pre-labeled, you mean? So they will
Yeah.
be
So
labeled for you, and you can double check it
you
afterwards.
can double check it. Yeah. Let's say you have a data set for a chatbot, and that's in English, but now you want a chatbot in I don't know, in German, for example,
Yeah.
right? So one thing you could do is you could just translate your entire data set, use our augmentation API, 10x your data set size, train a model, and then just use it out of the box. It'll take you hardly 2 hours to do it, and just see what the results look like. You at least have a starting point, right?
Yeah.
Earlier,
Right.
maybe you did not even have a starting point, but
Yeah.
now at least in 2 to 3 hours, you have a model, you have a starting point, and then you can keep using the model, improve it, add more utterances, and keep improving your model.
And this is still based on your own technology, right? It's not that you call up a DeepL API or something.
No. It's all we have our own algorithms running to do all the translation, to do the augmentation and everything.
Yeah.
So that we keep everything in house.
So we can call you a deep tech startup and not a integration startup.
Yeah, honestly speaking, we're still trying to figure it out.
Okay. Yeah.
But I believe that we are slowly moving towards being an NLP company, more of a tech company.
Yeah.
And we see ourselves as providing different products.
Mm-hmm.
One product could be the platform. The other product could be the video translation platform that I was talking about, right?
Yeah.
And then maybe tomorrow we come up with some other product, maybe depending on what the market demands. You know how the market changes. You know how NLP technology is growing, right? So every other day something new is coming up. So we'll probably do something else. So that's what we are trying to figure out right now as an early stage company.
And how is it? Can you tell me maybe a little bit from a business perspective, if you're allowed? How can I start with NeuralSpace? Are there any subscriptions? Can I start free? How does that work?
You can start free of cost. Just go to platform.neuralspace.ai and you can create your own account. You will get $200 worth of credit. So you don't have to pay for at least 1, 2, 3 months, up to 3 months. You can try out all the APIs that you want to. You get access to all the new features that we keep pushing out. And that's it. And you can use our documentation. We have Postman collections available. We have videos available for integration. So you can go through all of that, try out whatever you want. We have a Slack community as well. You can join our Slack community. We are quite active over there. So you can just send us a message anytime and we'll be there to help you out. If not me, someone from my team will definitely be there and we'll help you fix problems. And sometimes what we have also done is people in our community, they've signed up, they've joined our community and asked us, we have a problem, can you guys solve it, right? Rather than saying, will NLU solve my problem?
Yeah.
I have a problem, will you be able to solve it?
Can you
So we have
solve
to
it? Yeah.
handhold them a little bit. We have to handhold them a little bit in that case.
Yeah. Cool. So I got a lot of insights. I hope the audience also got a lot of insights. And I just have one last question, or two last questions. So one is I've seen your startup is growing. You raised also funding, and you are on a good way to grow, which is well known for voice and NLP companies at the moment.
Mm.
So how does the next step look like? Will you expand? Will you focus on the product development? Are you looking for new investors? If you're allowed to
Our goal,
say anything.
yeah, absolutely. I'm allowed to say it's very straightforward. We just raised funding, and we are planning to expand. But we are planning to expand mostly from the business perspective. That means we want to double down on our sales. We want to make sure that our products are out there in the market. We want to build a brand. We want to make sure that when people hear of NeuralSpace, they say, okay, NeuralSpace, right? Okay, is that NLP company?
Yeah.
That's what we want to be. We want to focus a lot on that. Of course, product development never stops. That's
Yeah,
something that would
sure.
never stop. But one thing we have done very well is that we have hired amazing engineers who have a lot of machine learning knowledge as well as a lot of engineering knowledge, and they can build scalable software applications. And that's why we built the tech team very solid. Now we
Yeah.
want to focus a lot on the business, sell more, and get a lot of companies on our website, get a lot of logos on our website. That's what we want right now.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's amazing. And what do you do? I mean, we have 10 minutes, but you can shortly maybe give some info what you do besides NeuralSpace. Do you have any passions, any hobbies, or no time
Yeah, I
anymore
do.
for hobbies?
No, no, absolutely not. These days, although I get less time for pursuing
Yeah.
my hobbies, but I'm a musician. I produce music myself at home. I've recorded an album as well in the past. I love playing music. Like every minute that I get free, I just pick up my guitar and I just start either humming some tune or write a small, like a very simple, small little song that I can play to my friends. That's what I mostly do. I'm learning to pick a few new sports activities. For example, I did try a little bit of basketball, but I don't think I'm really good at it. I play badminton. I want to learn how to play tennis. I'm slowly starting to
Yeah.
pick a little bit of sports activities. Yeah, but mostly apart from tech, if there is a passion that I have, it's definitely music.
Yeah, that's amazing. And music is also connected to voice and audio technology, so it's not
Right.
that far away. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not far away.
Cool. So I think we've got a lot of insight about NeuralSpace. I'm already very fascinated by your product. Of course, I'm also trying it out and seeing how it works. And
Mhm.
yeah, and we will definitely hear more about you and
Sure,
your progress.
absolutely.
And thank
Thanks a
you a
lot.
lot for having you here at Voice Tech Up. We want to share and democratize knowledge about the NLP and voice space and chatbots.
That's
Cool.
really cool, and I really appreciate all of that. And thanks a lot for calling me. I'm happy to be here.